Okay, so you've poured years of blood, sweat, and tears into building your business. You're ready to turn it into a payday, but not just any payday. We're talking about those premium exits.
Right, those life-changing exits.
Exactly, the kind that make headlines and let you finally maybe take that dream vacation.
That's right. And we're not talking about just any business here. We're diving into the strategies that work for businesses already performing well. The ones clearing 7 figures in EBITDA.
EBITDA, for those of you just joining us.
Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Right. A key metric used to evaluate a company's profitability. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about how to figure out what your business is actually worth.
It's like getting an appraisal before you sell your house.
Exactly. You wouldn't sell your house without knowing how much it's worth, right?
Exactly. And just like with a house, you need a proper valuation for your business. But instead of square footage and curb appeal, investors are looking at things like your unique value proposition, market position, operational efficiency, and of course your financials.
So it's about more than just looking at your bank balance.
Precisely. It's about understanding the underlying factors that drive a business's value in the eyes of an investor. Let's say you're a buyer and you're looking at 2 coffee shops. One is brand new. The other's been a local favorite for decades. Which one are you more drawn to?
Probably the one with a proven track record and a loyal following.
Exactly. That established brand and customer loyalty are invaluable assets that can significantly impact a business's valuation. It's a lot easier to grow a business that already has a solid foundation than it is to start from scratch.
So a strong brand loyal customer base. Got it. What else are those savvy investors looking for?
They want to see that you're not just making money now, but that you have a clear path for sustainable growth. Remember that boutique fitness studio we discussed? The one that successfully pivoted to online classes during the pandemic.
Oh, right. They really seem to weather that storm.
They did, and that's a perfect example of demonstrating adaptability and forward-thinking music to an investor's ears.
Absolutely. They showed they could adapt and innovate, which gives buyers confidence in their ability to navigate future challenges and capitalize on emerging opportunities. But let's be realistic. Not every business can pull off a pandemic pivot that's seamlessly about. What are some other ways businesses can make themselves more attractive to potential buyers?
Think of it like staging your house. But for your business, you want to highlight its strengths and minimize any potential concerns a buyer might have,
So it's about presenting the business in the best possible light.
while still being transparent and authentic. Exactly. For example, imagine a tech support company that consistently receives rave reviews for its exceptional customer service. They go above and beyond.
And they have the reviews to prove it.
Exactly. That's something they'll want to showcase because a loyal customer base is pure gold to potential buyers.
It's about demonstrating that you're not just selling a company, but a well-oiled machine that's ready to continue running smoothly.
Right. And that smooth operation extends to your financials. Investors want to see those clean and transparent financial records. It's not just about the numbers themselves, but the story they tell about your business's financial health.
It's about proving that you're not just good at making money, but also at managing it responsibly.
Precisely. And this is where many business owners overlook a critical element: strategic planning.
What do you mean?
It's not enough to just react to market trends. Buyers are looking for businesses actively shaping their future. They're drawn to companies with a clear vision, adaptable strategies, and a proactive approach to growth. It's the difference between a ship adrift at sea and one charting a course for a lucrative destination.
So strategic planning is like having a roadmap that guides your business toward a successful exit. It shows potential buyers that you're not just along for the ride, but you're in the driver's seat making strategic decisions that will maximize their investment.
Exactly. But just like any journey, timing is everything. You wouldn't sell your business during an economic downturn, would you?
Definitely not. You'd want to wait for the right moment when market conditions are favorable and buyer demand is high.
Exactly.
That makes perfect sense, but how do you actually know when the time is right to sell? It's not like there's a crystal ball.
True. But there are definitely signs you can look out for. We'll unpack those later, but first let's talk about the concrete steps you can take to prepare for a successful exit.
So you've got your business firing on all cylinders, you've got your financials pristine, and you've got a solid plan for the future.
Now it's time to find the right buyer.
Right. It's not like you can just list it on a marketplace like you would with...
No, it's not as simple as selling a used car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you actually find the right buyer for your business, especially if you're aiming for one of those premium exits we've been talking about?
Finding the right buyer is crucial. It's about finding someone who not only sees the value in what you've built,
Yeah.
but also aligns with your vision for the future of the business.
So it's not just a financial transaction, it's about finding someone who will take care of your baby.
Precisely. And just like finding the right business partner, it takes time, effort, and a strategic approach. It's not just about casting the widest net, but about targeting the buyers who are most likely to appreciate and leverage your business's unique strengths.
That makes sense. So how do you go about finding those ideal buyers? What are some effective strategies for getting on their radar?
Well, one option is to work with a business broker.
Kind of like a real estate agent, but for businesses.
Exactly. They have the network and expertise to connect you with potential buyers who are actively looking for businesses like yours.
So they act as intermediaries, facilitating introductions and helping to navigate the complexities of the deal?
Right. They can save you a lot of time and hassle, especially if you're new to the world of mergers and acquisitions.
So that's one option. What are some other avenues entrepreneurs can explore?
Another approach is to leverage your own network.
You mean reaching out to industry contacts, investors,
Mhm.
people you've done business with?
Exactly. You've spent years building relationships in your industry. So don't underestimate the power of those connections someone in your network might know of a company that's looking to expand or acquire a business just like yours.
It's about tapping into that hidden market of potential buyers who might not be actively searching, but would be interested if the right opportunity presented itself.
Exactly. And of course, you can also explore online platforms and marketplaces that specialize in connecting buyers and sellers of businesses.
So there are options for every comfort level, from working with intermediaries to taking a more DIY approach.
Absolutely. The key is to choose the approach that aligns best with your resources, your timeline, and your comfort level.
This is reminding me of something we discussed earlier, the importance of storytelling. You mentioned it's crucial when marketing your business for sale. How does that play into this process of attracting buyers?
Storytelling is everything. It's about going beyond the balance sheet and creating an emotional connection with potential buyers. Investors are bombarded with opportunities, so you need to give them a reason to sit up and take notice. A compelling story can do just that.
So instead of just presenting the facts and figures, you need to weave them into a narrative that resonates with your target audience.
Right, think about what makes your business unique. What are the challenges you've overcome? What impact have you made on your customers' lives? These are the elements that make your story come alive and capture the imagination of potential buyers.
It's about making them feel like they're not just investing in a business, but in a story they want to be a part of.
Precisely. And don't be afraid to get personal touches. Share your journey as an entrepreneur, the highs and lows, the lessons learned, and the triumphs celebrated.
Because those personal touches are what make a story authentic and relatable.
Exactly. And remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So don't be afraid to use visuals, videos, and customer testimonials to bring your story to life.
It's about creating an immersive experience that captures the essence of your brand and leaves a lasting impression on potential buyers.
Now you're speaking my language. But creating a captivating story is just the first step. You also need to make sure that your business is legally and financially sound.
Right, you don't want any legal hiccups or financial skeletons in the closet to scare away potential buyers.
Precisely. That's why it's crucial to have all your legal ducks in a row and your financials in tip-top shape.
So talk to me about the legal side of things. What are some common legal pitfalls that entrepreneurs should be aware of when preparing for an exit?
One of the most common mistakes is neglecting to protect your intellectual property.
You mean things like patents, trademarks, copyrights, that sort of thing?
Exactly. These assets are often a key part of a business's value, so it's crucial to make sure they're properly protected before you start engaging with potential buyers.
Otherwise, you could risk losing control of those valuable assets or having to negotiate unfavorable terms down the line.
Right. Another common pitfall is having poorly drafted or outdated contracts.
Customer agreements, vendor contracts, employment agreements, things like that.
Precisely, these documents form the legal foundation of your business. So it's essential to make sure they're comprehensive, up-to-date, and legally sound.
Otherwise, you could run into legal disputes or delays during the due diligence process.
Exactly. And speaking of due diligence, that's another area where having your legal house in order is absolutely crucial.
Because that's when potential buyers really dig into the details, right?
Exactly. During due diligence, buyers will scrutinize every aspect of your business, including your legal compliance. They'll want to see that you've obtained all the necessary permits and licenses, that you're in compliance with all applicable regulations, and that you've taken steps to mitigate potential risks.
So it's like a thorough background check for your business.
In a way, yes. And just
Hmm.
like with a background check, any red flags can raise concerns and potentially derail the deal.
So it's essential to be prepared and to address any potential issues proactively.
Absolutely. Don't try to hide anything. Be upfront and transparent with potential buyers and work with your legal team to address any concerns they might have.
Honesty and transparency are always the best policy, especially when it comes to business transactions as important as this.
I couldn't agree more. Now let's move on to the financial side of preparing for an exit. This is where things can get a little technical, but it's essential to have a solid understanding of your business's financial health and to present that information in a clear and compelling way to potential buyers.
So, what are some key financial considerations that entrepreneurs should focus on during this stage?
First and foremost, you need to make sure your financial statements are accurate, reliable, and up to date.
We're talking balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement, the whole nine yards.
Exactly. These documents provide a snapshot of your business's financial health, and buyers will scrutinize them carefully.
It's like getting a financial checkup before going on a big date.
I like that analogy. You want to make sure you're putting your best financial foot forward.
Absolutely. So accurate and up to date financial statements. Check what else?
You also need to have a solid understanding of your business's key financial metrics, such as your revenue growth rate, profit margins, and customer acquisition costs.
These metrics provide insights into your business's performance and potential for future growth.
Exactly. And buyers will want to see that you have a track record of profitability
Mhm.
and that you're positioned for continued success.
It's about demonstrating that you're not just a flash in the pan, but that you've built a sustainable and scalable business.
Precisely. And that brings us to another important financial consideration, your business's capital structure.
You mean things like debt and equity.
Exactly. Buyers will want to understand how your business is financed and whether there are any outstanding debts or obligations that could impact the deal.
So it's important to have a clear understanding of your debt to equity ratio and to be prepared to discuss your financing strategy with potential buyers.
Absolutely. And finally, you need to have a realistic valuation in mind.
We talked about this earlier, understanding what your business is actually worth.
Right. But it's important to reiterate that having a realistic valuation is crucial for attracting serious buyers and negotiating a favorable deal.
Because if your valuation is too high, you risk scaring away potential buyers.
Exactly. But if it's too low, you're leaving money on the table.
Right. So it's all about finding that sweet spot, a valuation that reflects the true value of your business while also being attractive to potential buyers.
Precisely.
This has been incredibly insightful. I'm starting to see how all these pieces of the puzzle, from storytelling to legal compliance to financial health, all fit together to create a compelling case for a premium exit.
They do indeed. But it's important to remember that preparing for an exit is not just about checking boxes and dotting your I's. It's also about understanding the emotional aspects of selling a business.
At the big deal, it's your baby. You've poured your heart and soul into it.
Precisely. You've invested so much of yourself into building this business, and saying goodbye can be tough.
It's like parting ways with a close friend or even a family member.
In many ways, it is. So it's essential to be prepared for the emotional roller coaster that often accompanies the exit process.
What are some common emotions that entrepreneurs might experience during this time?
It's a real mixed bag: excitement, anxiety, pride, sadness, relief, you name it.
It sounds like it can be overwhelming at times.
It certainly can be, especially if you're not prepared for it.
So how can entrepreneurs manage these emotions effectively and avoid letting them derail the deal?
One of the most important things is to acknowledge and validate your emotions. Don't try to bottle them up or pretend they're not there.
So talk about it.
Exactly. Talk to someone you trust, a spouse, a mentor, a therapist, about how you're feeling.
It's important to have a support system in place.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to seek professional guidance if you need it.
That's what therapists and coaches are for.
Precisely. Another helpful tip is to focus on the positive aspects of the exit.
Like the financial freedom, it will provide the opportunity to pursue new passions or the legacy you're leaving behind.
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in the stress and uncertainty of the process, but it's important to remind yourself of the reasons why you decided to sell in the first place.
Focus on the why.
Exactly. And finally, remember that it's okay to feel a sense of loss.
It's a significant chapter in your life that's coming to an end.
Right. Allow yourself time to grieve and to process those emotions.
Don't rush into anything new until you're emotionally ready.
Wise words. Now let's shift gears and talk about something a little more concrete: the actual negotiation process.
This is where things get real.
Absolutely. Negotiating a business sale is a delicate dance, and it requires a unique set of skills and strategies.
So, what are some common mistakes that entrepreneurs make during negotiations, and how can they avoid them?
One of the most common mistakes is being underprepared.
You mean not having a clear understanding of what they want to achieve or what their bottom line is?
Exactly. Before you enter into any negotiations, you need to have a solid understanding of your goals, your walkaway point, and your best alternative to a negotiated agreement.
Your beat ATNA.
Exactly. Your BATNA is essentially your plan B, what you'll do if the deal falls through.
So, if these negotiations fall apart, you've got a backup plan.
Precisely, having a strong BAPNA gives you leverage in negotiations because it shows the other party that you're not desperate to make a deal.
So, it's about having options and being willing to walk away if the terms aren't favorable.
Yeah, exactly. Another common mistake is being too emotionally attached to the business.
Again, it's your baby.
Right. But when you're emotionally attached, it's easy to let your heart rule your head.
You're attached to the business. You don't want to let it go.
Exactly. You might be more likely to accept a lower offer or to make concessions that aren't in your best interest.
So, you need to approach it with a clear and objective mindset.
Precisely. It's essential to remember that this is a business transaction.
Separate the emotional from the logical.
Exactly. And that can be tough, especially if you've poured your heart and soul into building the business.
Which is why it's so important to have a trusted team of advisors and mentors to provide support and guidance throughout the process.
Absolutely. They can offer an objective perspective and help you to stay focused on your goals.
It's like having a coach in your corner cheering you on and keeping you accountable.
Precisely. Now, let's talk about some specific negotiation tactics.
I'm all ears.
One effective tactic is to focus on value creation rather than just price.
So it's not just about the money.
Right. Instead of just haggling over the purchase price, try to identify ways to create additional value for both parties.
For example,
You could offer to stay on for a transition period to ensure a smooth handover.
help the new owner get settled in.
Exactly. Or you could offer to introduce the buyer to your network of contacts.
It's about finding creative ways to sweeten the deal and make it a win-win for everyone involved.
Precisely. Another effective tactic is to be willing to walk away from the table.
There's that BATNA again.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's worth reiterating because it's a powerful negotiation tactic when you're willing to walk away. It shows the other party that you're serious about your terms and that you're not afraid to walk away from a deal that doesn't meet your needs.
It's about knowing your worth and not settling for less than you deserve.
Exactly. And finally, remember that communication is key.
So be clear, be concise, be respectful in your communication with the other party.
Precisely. Negotiations can be stressful, and it's easy to let emotions get the better of you. But it's important to maintain a professional and respectful demeanor throughout the process.
Even when things get tough.
Especially when things get tough, because ultimately you want to reach an agreement that works for everyone involved, and that's more likely to happen when both parties feel heard and respected.
This has been incredibly helpful. I feel much more prepared to tackle the negotiation process now.
I'm glad to hear that. But remember, negotiation is just one step in the exit process. Once you've reached an agreement, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Like what?
Like finalizing the deal, transitioning the business to the new owners, and planning for your next chapter.
So we've walked through the whole process of getting your business ready for that premium exit, finding the right buyer, negotiating the deal, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But what happens after you sign on the dotted line?
That's when the real journey begins.
Because let's be honest, selling a business, especially one you've poured your heart and soul into, it's a life-changing event.
It is. It's like closing one chapter and opening a brand new one full of possibilities.
Exactly. And just like with any new chapter, it's important to have a plan.
Absolutely. A post-exit plan is crucial. It gives you direction and purpose and helps you avoid that dreaded feeling of, what do I do now that the deal is done?
So where do you even begin when it comes to creating a post-exit plan? It can feel overwhelming.
It's really about taking some time for introspection, reflecting on your values, your passions, your aspirations. What did you always want to do but couldn't because you were so busy building your business?
For some people, it might be traveling the world. For others, it might be spending more time with family or pursuing a hobby they've always loved.
Exactly. Or it could be something completely different, like starting a nonprofit, writing a book. There's no right or wrong answer here. The important thing is to figure out what truly excites you.
It's about designing a life that aligns with your values and aspirations.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the importance of seeking out mentors or coaches who have gone through similar experiences.
They can offer invaluable advice and support.
Absolutely. They've been there, done that. and can help you navigate the unique challenges and opportunities that come with a premium business exit.
It's like having a guide to help you navigate uncharted territory.
Exactly. And speaking of uncharted territory, let's not forget about the financial aspect of your post-exit plan.
Right, because you've worked hard to secure your financial future. Now it's about making those hard-earned dollars work for you.
Precisely, it's essential to have a solid financial plan in place to manage your wealth responsibly and ensure your long-term financial security.
This is where seeking advice from trusted financial advisors comes in.
Absolutely. They can help you develop a diversified investment strategy plan for your tax liability and make sure you're well positioned for whatever the future holds.
It's about making informed decisions that will protect and grow your wealth for years to come.
Exactly. And remember, a premium business exit is not just about the money, it's about creating a life of purpose and meaning.
It's about using your newfound freedom and resources to pursue your passions, give back to your community, and make a difference in the world.
Absolutely. It's about leaving a legacy that you can be proud of.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of premium business exits, from understanding what drives value to finding the right buyer to navigating the emotional roller coaster of letting go and planning for an exciting new chapter.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has provided you with the knowledge and inspiration you need to achieve your own premium business exit.
Remember, with the right mindset, strategy, and support, anything is possible.
This has been the Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of business and entrepreneurship.